And we are live. Hello, everybody. This is me, Theus, Complex Mind, Simple Man, thinking out loud. And I have my friend, partner, sister in crime, Tracy Carson, here with me. So, Tracy, anything you want to say to the people before
I
we
thought
get
you,
started?
I thought you literally was gonna say sister in Christ. Literally thought, I'm like, this? I don't know. It just sounded like you were going right there, but I'm happy to be here, everybody. Thank you.
Give an honor to the pastor, the first lady, the
You
minister
forgot
staff.
God. You forgot God. You gotta give God honor to God, who's the
God
head of
first.
my life.
First, give honor to God. It was truly the head of my life, and I see. I've been out of practice so long. I'd be missing folk. That's why I couldn't do it. I just had to go up to everybody and say hi, everybody. Hi.
It's like this? No, this ain't this.
I'm like, he ought to know better than that.
I would say, I'd be like, oh, I'm glad you're back with us. Good. I'm
I'm like,
always happy
somebody
when
hand me the
someone.
script. Somebody hand me the script. They won't hear me without the script. Um,
But I'm happy to be here and to talk about whatever subject we're going to talk about today.
yes. So, this is all about the Black community. On that one. So this isn't the third party thing per se. In fact, nope, I did not even put politics on my list this go round. But if we get to it, we can. But this is really more. This is inspired more by that video not video, the article you shared with me, um, about the young man who was basically stopped for driving while black,
Mm-hmm.
and then the police go on their treasure hunt and start making things into something other than what it was. And if not for videos nowadays, you wouldn't even have anybody to tell your story, which is another thing to consider. But that's what inspired this. So we're going to touch on a couple of different subjects. We're going to touch on employment, like what I see or what we see as far as some of the considerations for how employment may be challenged, changed, or affected during this season in America. Relationships, like interpersonal relationships, right? Man to woman, family, spiritual, like relationships. I believe that they're they are already strained and they're going to continue to be strained because when economics aren't right, relationships get worse. So, like, how are we going to try to, you know, work our way through that? And then criminal justice, like I said, for like in this case, our youth, you know, what do we do? How do we provide or protect or educate them as best we can, given that there's not a lot of direct options um, to address some of the concerns. I guess you can say same concerns we've always had, but that's where the title of the show comes from, where I'm talking about, and I'm reading it because my mind is terrible. From rain to downpour, right? So navigating the storm as a community. Our entire time, my little soapbox moment here, our entire time as Black people in America, whether you consider yourself to be foundational Black American or you consider yourself to be an American descendant of chattel slavery, um, I'm sorry, a descendant of an African, you know what I mean, the descendant of chattel slavery of Africans here in America, loosely known as ADOS, right? Or you don't really align yourself with ADOS or FBA, but you're like me, where you're like, I am a proud descendant of enslaved Africans. I know how my bloodline got here, um, and a lot of our journey, right? So there's that. So as a community, we're all going through this. We've been going through it, and we've had far worse seasons in this country than we're experiencing now. But this is our season, though, right? And I think that it's going to continue to get worse. So for years, people like myself and like you, Tracy, have spoken about what we need to do to get ready for this type of season. But I feel like that largely fell on deaf ears. and now we're in it, right? The rain is picking up, the storm is getting heavier. So now we got to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to use that old? I got it from church. I don't know where it came from, but that old story basically saying you're in the storm. You're going through the storm. You got two choices. You can pull your car off to the side of the road and hope that the storm passes, or you can put on your hazards, slow down, and keep pushing through, knowing that if you can just get to the edge, the storm will be over that much faster for you. So one is sit still, the metaphor. So what do you think, Tracy?
I think it depends on, there's a time to stand still and do nothing. But then there's a time where you got to fight and you got to get yourself geared up for battle. Hey Parker,
Hey, Parker.
there's a time for both, especially not to go on the religious tip, but here I go because that's what I do. There's times in the Bible where God literally says, "Hey, don't do nothing, just stay there, and I want you to stay there." Noah on the boat. He didn't get off the boat, he went through it, right? The flood came, it was flooded for 40 days, 40 nights. He just kind of sailed through. Then there was other times where God said, stand still and see what I can do. But then there were times where God said, hey, it's time for you to fight. And I don't think we as a community know the difference. I tend to think that there are some of us that should be fighting, some of us should be waiting. I don't think we all should fight because I don't think most people are ready to fight. I hear people say, oh, I'm ready for a revolution. No, you're not. Because a revolution normally means somebody gonna die. Usually. Usually, if I'm thinking of revolution in the frame of mind
No,
I'm
I think
thinking of,
in every case.
it looks like you're not ready for a revolution. You're wanting a change. That's what you want, because you really don't want a revolution. Because if you were serious about a revolution, you would have been overthrown the government. You would have been said, okay, we're taking this and we're just going through this. So I don't think, and it sounds kind of silly to say, but I think some people are better off just standing still and getting the tools that they need and just stay where they are because they're not ready to get in and they're just not ready because they're distracted by life. Life is distracting them. And until it hits them, they're gonna be like that, right? Um I think about Medicare Part D. Most people aren't even talking about it. One, because it's going to take place. Well, that's in December. But when December comes, everybody's going to be talking about it because now you have people that are affected by cuts to Medicaid Part D. So, like I said, I think some people are better suited to stand still and do nothing. And then there's some people who can go through the storm, trial through the storm, do the organizing. And then there's some, very few, that can do that revolutionary, I'm going to risk it all. So I think it's all three, and all three of them have to operate at the same time. And I'm hoping that makes some sort of sense.
No, it makes really good sense because, like I was saying, for some people it's sit still, for some people it's do something, right? And I think a lot of times when we hear fight or things like that, we think it's all about the violence, and it's not. You know, there's different ways that you get active and that you engage. You know, and it depends on you and the role that you've picked up or is assigned to you, things like that. So no, I 100% agree with you. Um, Tracy, I hate to do this for you, hate to do this to you, but can you elaborate any way that you want for just a couple of minutes? I gotta run upstairs. They said that somebody came to the door. Is that
Oh,
cool?
sure. Well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
letting me validate. But again, you have to think about
But I'll be back.
the way that our culture is set up. We don't tend to care about things until it hits us, right? Look at the cuts to I hate to use these people as examples. All the people that voted for Trump in the past election, they all voted for him because they thought, oh, he's going to stop all the wars. He's going to really put America first. And we told them, hey, he's not going to put America's first. He's going to expand war. They didn't listen. And now that their SNAP is being cut, and now that their uh, Medicaid is being cut. Now it's coming home to roost. Yes, we should care about things that don't necessarily affect us, but unfortunately, the way our society is, we don't care until it affects us. We just don't. We don't move, we don't do anything, and that's because it's not affecting us. And like I said, I'm gonna keep sounding like a broken record, but I'll say it again. I think everybody's not ready to move in the same steps. There are some people, it doesn't matter. You can keep telling them, hey, elections have consequences. It matters who you put in office. They're not voting, they don't care. But when the crap hits the fan, they're going to be the first ones that complain. Oh, I didn't think. I didn't think this was going to affect me. I didn't think this was supposed to happen to me. It does happen to you. And the way our society is set up, we're so self-focused. We aren't focused on our brothers and our sisters. We're focused on what can I get? How's this going to affect me? I care about many issues that have nothing to do with me. Deeply am concerned about what's happening to our indigenous community. I'm not indigenous, but I have enough sense to know what happens to one happens to all. And I don't think all of us are there. Some people, like I said, they're not going to care until something happens. They become organizers and then they start organizing because now, oh, crap's hit the fan. And then you have those very, very, very few that are revolutionaries like, hey, I'm putting it all on the line. I'm putting my house on the line. I'm putting my job on the line. I'm going to live off the grid. Those are special people. Those are people that do something that I wouldn't be willing to do, like hunger strikes. I don't knock people that do hunger strikes. That's just not for me.
Yeah, that
It's
ain't my
not.
ministry.
It's not gonna be for me. I'm not gonna do it. But hey, if that's what you want to do, just like the young man that burned himself to protest the Gazan atrocity, yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm like, yeah, that's what he did. Don't look for me to do that. It's just not gonna happen. There are certain sacrifices you have to know what it is that you're willing to sacrifice.
No, definitely agree. And I'm sorry I missed the first part of what you're saying, but everything you were just saying, I'm 100% with you. Like, um, that's why I was saying, like, you got to know. Well, you don't have to know. You can choose if you don't already know, or you may have it chosen for you, the role that you end up playing um, overall, right? So, like, like what Parker was saying, I'll put his comment back up. Tracy's right. A lot of people have no choice but to hunker down, and that's very true. So, like, here's how I would kind of paint the general sense of the community. You have those who are much more revolutionary minded, like Tracy was saying, and that comes in different forms too. But you can have a revolutionary that is focused on fighting, right? They don't need any more of somebody trying to tell them what to do or what's coming. They've been planning for this. They've been preparing for this. They see this as their responsibility and their duty. They're the front line, and they're going to go out there and they're going to fight to gain and hold ground for their community. Then you have another group that's much more defensive minded. They're willing to fight, but their focus is protecting what is, right? So they're going to they'll get on the wall, right? So when you open the gates, the first group went out to go fight. This is the group that gets on the wall, right? They're the ones that are making sure that if it gets to the home base, then they're willing to sacrifice it all to keep the women and the children and then the elders and everything like that secure. But even then, you got resupply, you got support. So now you got your medical people who they're like, I will put my skills, I'll put my talents towards the benefit of this thing I call a community. So that might be medical training, like maybe they're a nurse or they have some medical training, or they own businesses, so they volunteer their time or some of their resources or some of their product, right? For what's the term that we use? I always call it continuous giving. What is it, the other term that you use, Tracy? Shared. But anyway.
Oh shoot, I know it.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like resource sharing in a way.
Yeah, resource sharing. Oh, I know it. It's like right there. Oh right? My gosh.
It's right there. It'll hit us. It'll hit us eventually.
Sam says it all the time. And I can't.
But there's that, right? Mutual aid.
Thank you, Parker. Yeah. Thank my gosh.
Mutual aid.
I'm like, right? Yeah, it's called.
So there's that. And to me, all of these are just as noble as all the rest. But then you also have the larger group of all of us, which would be the ones who are afraid to move. They're afraid to do anything because they're afraid to make things worse. So they rather hide from it, pretend it's not happening or whatever. That group is always present. That group, though, is the group that replenishes each of the other groups, because as they become more engaged, as the trouble or the harm finally reaches them personally, many of them become activated and they end up moving into one of those other lanes. So I say all that just to be like, wherever you find yourself in trying to navigate current environment, it's probably the exact right place for you to be right now. I just encourage you to be open to, is this the time for you to move into a different arena? Right?
Can I add something though?
Yeah.
I kind of sort of want to disagree with you, because people want to care, but I think our media plays a big role in this. A huge role. And here's what I'm talking about. So the way that they frame things, I'll give you a good example. The way they frame the whole Iran war and Israel's part in it. You would think, if you just watch corporate media and that's all you watch, you would think, oh, Israel's just, they're the greatest thing ever. They were attacked on October 7th. Most people don't have the education to know, oh no, this started way back even before 1948, right? If you technically want to speak. And they either have the Christian Zionists, like, how you gonna be Christian and Zionist? I'm still trying to, in my mind, make that make sense. I'm like, y'all ain't making no kind of biblical sense. Y'all just y'all illiterate and don't even know.
Tracy, it is beat into your head. It is beat into your head that the Jews are God's chosen people.
And I'm
like, you hear that over and over and over.
God's chosen. I'm like, could you show me the scripture that says that? Because I didn't read it. Maybe I ain't reading right. I didn't read it. But anyway, the way that they do the or this one happens. And when I hear a president, whether it's Obama, whether it's Clinton, whether it's Bush, Biden, even Trump, unemployment numbers, those things never, ever take into counter in what true unemployment is. They don't talk about the people that have literally given up looking for work. They don't talk about gig work. They don't talk, it's like so many parts that they're missing, but because it's low, the economy's doing great. The economy's doing what? Ask the average person, the economy is not doing great. But if you just watch corporate media and you just went off the stock market, you would be thinking, "Oh, the economy is doing great."
Well, I hear that, and I'm definitely not saying media doesn't have a significant role to play because it's how you craft narratives, it's how you push propaganda,
Propaganda,
um,
yes,
right? But I can't give it too much agency because aside from like the baby boomers, most people are not getting their news from national news anyway. They're getting it from cable news or they're getting it from social media. And then even within that, okay, yeah, your perception of the Iran war, for example, your perception of that war can be completely skewed if you're a left-leaning person versus being a right-leaning person. But
right,
what shouldn't skew your view in any manner is the events in front of you, how they play out. That's one, or death and civilian death specifically. So the
right.
fact that you can be swayed on those, that's an individual problem. Like I can't blame that on media per se, because that is like groupthink and a lot of other things. And I think that, I don't know, I just don't factor media in as hard because I think a person who is incapable of processing at a basic level messaging like that, they were gonna do what the people around them were gonna do
Well,
anyway.
think about it like this, and the media does this often. When a crime is committed by a white person, a white male
Hmm.
versus a black male,
Hmm.
completely different. When a mass
Absolutely.
shooter is white, they want to show the picture of his hands praying, or
Hmm.
him with the Boy Scout, or him with the boys choir. When the very few times this has happened, the one time that I know where a mass shooter has been black, literally, don't know a whole lot, so I'm just gonna assume there's one. They got to talk about how he was in the gang and his father left him and his mother was a single mother and she tried to do her best and da da da.
But see, Tracy, that I blame, and my focus is black folks, so that I blame on us. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because how many times does someone have to lie to you? How many times does someone have to distort your story? How many times does someone have to scapegoat you before you stop listening to them? So the fact that we continue to listen to them and trust in what law enforcement says back to us, or even give it any credence, forget trusting, giving it any
Yeah,
value
why you listening
whatsoever.
to him in the first place? Why?
Huh? Well,
I
you
said, why are you
listen,
listening to him in the first
yeah,
place?
yeah. But it's like sometimes you're gonna listen because that's the only way you get your news, right? But what I'm saying is, no matter okay, this goes back to my filter when it comes to news anyway. And I know I'm not the typical person, but why am I hearing this? Why are you telling this to me? And why are you telling me this now? Right. So it's like, what is your angle
Right.
in all of this? And then also when it comes to media, and this is regardless of the media, black media, white media, national media, state media, social media, I'm still like, is this a conversation that's actually happening for me to be a part of? Or is this a
Right.
conversation that's happening and I just happen to hear it? Right. I
Yeah,
just
I think
happen to be in the
it's
room.
the second one. I'm just there. I'm just like, oh, they didn't mean this
Yeah.
for me.
So sometimes these narratives are being crafted and pushed out there because the target audience isn't you. So
This is true.
when something happens, like what happened with Nolan, the black boy who went out with the white family and he ain't come back. I think his name's Nolan. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
No, you're
But
right.
the media is trying to shift it a certain way. We're hearing all these leaks from the family and all that stuff especially on the first go round, right? And I'm looking
Yeah,
at it
all
and
his
I'm
best
saying,
friends. Hey, where y'all come from? Ain't none of y'all talk to the police. Ain't none of y'all talk.
so
I'm,
so to
I'm
me
like, come on.
the more responsible or effective response to these things is we know the history of this country, we know the climate that we live in, and we know what the odds are of what happened. So anything that is leaked by anybody that is not clearly advocating for this young man has no value to me. Has literally no value. I don't care what the family says of the boys that were his friends. I don't care. They could be telling the absolute truth. They could be lying. I simply don't care, because their mission in this moment, reasonably so, is how do they protect their boys? Right? That's the mission for them. It doesn't even have to be a racial thing. It's simply, he's not here. They are here. They circle the wagons. And if you kind of view it that way, you look at who has the power, who has the interest, and what are we dealing with, a lot of times you'll find that has been the history going as far back as you like, where something bad happens to a Black person and law enforcement starts lying on us. The media starts lying on us, right? But they start doing that because the Black person's gone. So they already didn't see any value in the Black person anyway, but he's gone. He's deceased.
Look at what happened when the young girl, I hate to call her a little girl, but to me she is, whose baby was killed in Mississippi. Well, how come she had her
right? And it gets
the wrong question.
It gets us spun up in all of the facts around the facts.
The fact is that police officers.
The fact is a child was shot in a Walmart parking lot.
In the head. Yes, that's a fact. Well,
no, the baby being shot in the head, that's secondary. The baby being held up, that's secondary. Why are you shooting into a car on the basis of alleged property theft?
And the property, diapers, really?
But again, that is a fact around the fact, right? That's only there to stir up more discussion or frustration. But the foundational thing is what triggered this officer to react to this circumstance in this manner, right? And then we can push off of that to focus on policing. But as the more we add those other factors in to the broader discussion, not the legal discussion, but the more you add those other factors into the broader discussion, you start getting away from the system and you start looking at the individual. And now it's about, well, why did the cop do this? Why did the cop do that? Was it raining? Was the sun in his eyes? Right? No. You shouldn't have shot in that car.
And shot in a car.
Right.
Instead of, I don't know, filing a police report, putting their picture on TV, saying, hey, this is what they look like. Nope, you shot a gun in a car.
You left as a group with this young man with you.
Yep.
He comes up missing. You did not call the police there and wait for things to get started there. You came home, right? So that alone, we're going to go right on back to, at one point, you realized he wasn't coming back.
Didn't call his mama. Didn't call his dad.
That's it. Now we're going to investigate, right? But instead, we'll get lost in, they came all the way home. The phone came up missing. All that's true. All that's valid. I don't know if it's true, how true it is. All that stuff is valid. Take care of that in the courthouse. But as a community, our response, and this is where I've been for a long time, and I know more people are coming on board. But first of all, especially, well, period. Black man, black girl, doesn't matter. Never be the only one. Your history has taught you. And if it hasn't taught you, shame on those who should have been teaching you. Our history is clear. Do not be the only one in a space. It's not safe for you. It's just not. But this we impose on as a broad spectrum.
It's because we want to be accepted. We strive to be accepted. So, well, they wouldn't do that to me. Yes, they would. Yes, they actually would.
Been doing it for hundreds of years without interruption. So yeah. I understand that all groups got good and bad in them. That's fine. But there is a frequency at which bad things seem to happen under certain conditions.
Yep.
I want more of us to realize what those conditions are and just avoid those situations. You can't help that you're being hunted. You can't help that. You can not make yourself as much of an easy target. Can do that. So that's not me blaming this young man. That's not me blaming this young man's mama or anybody else. But I'm saying as a community, we know or should have known that the climate was continuing to get hotter. It's never been easy for us, but it's been consistently getting hotter for the last 2 years. So govern yourselves accordingly. This timeout for colorblindness, timeout for that. We never should have adopted such a weird position.
I don't know who thought that was a good. I like why.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I want to get back to is I always ask this is what is it going to take for us to say, you know what, I'm done. I've had enough. I mean,
It'll take
if
crisis.
you think about it, would we have crises?
We don't have crisis just yet.
We have millions of people that are going to lose their Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare Part D.
Medicare Part D, yep.
That's, to me, that's a crisis.
I agree.
Because now you have seniors that they aren't even scraping by now. They're just making it awful.
For more than a decade, at least, I know I've been hearing the stories about people having to ration their own medication, taking half of their doses, taking it every other day, things like that. So none of this has been new. And I personally, just to do my little soapbox moment, have been saying for years that we should put together a mutual aid programs for our elders so that we can help them with their prescription costs and help them with their copays. How much traction did I get? Even among my circle, how much traction did I get? Okay. So the situation is, and this is a human thing, unfortunately, everybody wants to help. No, everybody wants to want to help. Okay. That's what it is. Everybody wants to help, but nobody actually wants to help. And the reason why is because the narrative is stronger that nobody wants to help. So people are afraid of putting themselves out there, or people feel like they don't have any resources that they can share, that they can afford to share. And that last one is the one that annoys me the absolute most, because if you've ever been broke, if you've ever worked a job that barely pays much of anything, if you've ever had an uncertain living situation or financial situation, the people who came and helped you, the people who came and helped me, I guarantee you, they were people who are also messed up just like us. So if somebody who can't, they're not sure they can afford to buy a loaf of bread, but they will still give you a few slices out of their pack. You telling me they can share resources, but those of us in the middle class, we can't come off $10. We can't come off $20. Yeah, I'm shaming folks because we're at a desperate moment in time. We should have been building. We didn't. Storm is here. So now, going back to where we kind of started from, storm is here. It's only going to intensify. Okay? Yep. Now, are you going to hunker down and just try to make it through and hope the storm blows over and doesn't flood your home, or a tornado doesn't tear it apart, which is fine if that's where you are, because everybody doesn't have resources. Okay. Or are you going to start to marshal resources, even if it's just between you and your family members, or you and your circle, your closest circle of friends? Maybe that's the thing. Or maybe you're trying to figure out, like I'm trying to think for and plan for, the storm will pass. I'm trying to push through the storm, okay? Because I do have some benefits, some resources that allow me to not be desperate in this moment. I'm troubled, but I'm not desperate. So I have the luxury of saying, okay, do I have what I need to get my family through right now? I hope so. I think so. Yes. Can I navigate a short term disruption? Yes, I prepared for that because I saw this coming. Okay, so now what do I need to do to get into as best a position as possible when this blows over, provided that I survive to see it, or so I can put my children in that position so they can do it, right? That's where I'm at. Wherever you are, I'm just saying identify where you are. Like slow down and look at it and identify where you are.
Here's where I think people are at, and this is a sad thing. The majority of people think, oh, well, the midterms are coming up, so electing Democrats will make it all right. I don't know how many times I got to tell people this ain't gonna make it all right. I don't care if
Well,
I don't
I
care
think
if
that's
Trump
another
gets
part of that hope.
impeached tomorrow. It's not going to be the healthcare system ain't for you. It was never for you. You got to take care of, we have to take care of each other because each other is all we have. It doesn't matter whether it's a Democratic Congress or Republican Congress, the same thing is going to happen. Now, it won't happen to the degree because Trump is truly evil. Get that, got that. But there's a lot of people I talk to just think, well, the midterm, everything will return to normal. Well, what's normal? What
Right.
the heck is normal? What's that?
So getting at that just a little bit. So I think that people relying on the midterm is just one more part of what they call copium or hopium, because that is a continuation of something will save us. Okay, that's a continuation of that, which is if you don't have a plan, and maybe you can have hope. That's kind of what I think. That's how I see it. So first they thought the courts were going to stop them. That didn't happen. Well, first they thought Congress was going to stop them. That didn't happen. Then they thought the courts were going to stop them. That didn't happen. Then they thought the voters were going to stop them. That didn't happen. So the Supreme Court, oh, well, that didn't happen. Well, maybe now it'll be the midterms. There's always something
It's
else.
something instead of planning, what we should be doing is planning regardless. If Trump gets impeached tomorrow, we still need to plan. We still need to do
Yes.
mutual aid. That doesn't stop because of whichever party, because to me, they're the same thing. I know you say they're not, but me believes that they are. There's a whole lot of similarities, a whole lot of similarities. So for me, that doesn't change.
Well,
What
yeah, I mean, I get where people are coming from, and yes, I do disagree because the fact that you can draw a distinction means that they're not the same. But that doesn't mean that either are good, right? So it's because like I look at it and I say, okay, let's say um, people are so apathetic and they don't vote or whatever, right? Because like I'm kind of temporarily in that mode right now. So let's say you're so apathetic, you just don't vote. So that means so then the Republicans are able to either hold more power than they normally would, given current environment, or they're able to gain some more power. Okay, well, what comes of that? Okay, well, um, you're already losing medical care for the poor. So the next
that?
thing you'll do is you'll start losing medical care for working class. That's what will happen next.
Yeah,
They've already said it. You're also going to lose public school education for regular people. Okay. You're also going to have probably more religious wars, right? And yeah, and then the job market is going to continue to crumble because there will be no one in the Republican Party who's actually concerned about labor. So those are all the things that we know will get worse. Not only do we know they'll get worse because of, excuse me, how they've conducted themselves, but also because it's literally in their Project 2025, right? So
yeah, it was right
we
there, and people still say, "Eh."
so we know these things are exactly what will happen because nothing has stopped them thus far. Then we contrast that and we say, okay, well, we go out and we vote for the Democrats. We have a blue wave. It's a desperation play. We're that disgusted with the Republicans. So people who don't vote do vote. Every vote, all the votes, they're just gonna vote blue no matter where they are, just because that's how bad the Republicans have led
Right.
the government. Cool. That will stop you from losing your health insurance for those who are outside of the poverty class, because we got to wait for somebody to figure out a law to fix what just happened to this mess. But as far as those of us who aren't touched yet, you won't lose your health care yet, because they won't be able to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and all that other stuff. So cool. That's a hold steady, not an improvement. You will have public schools will continue to be funded. The quality of them isn't going to improve though, right? So basically what I'm getting at, the Democrats will be a hold steady situation. You're not going to see any improvement, especially not while he's still president. Not going to happen. And then here comes my criticism that sits behind all of this. To me, the choice is clear. You vote for the Democrats, but you vote for them because the whole purpose is you're seeing the Republicans trying to burn things down, and you just want to take the matches out of their hand. That to me is a clear choice. Where it gets annoying is that is far from being a solution. The Democrats will only take the matches out of the Republican hands to the extent that there's less Republicans holding matches. It won't be because the Democrats are going to go in there and start taking the matches.
Let's work across party. I'm going to work with a party is the KKK. Really? I'm supposed to work with them? I'm supposed to work with them. Really? Right. You really
got one party. You got one party that's acting like the Klan, right? They got the ropes, they got the guns, and all of that. And then you got the other one saying, "Hey guys, leave the guns at home." Like you're not even addressing none of this real issue.
Literally bringing a knife to a gunfight. That's literally what it is. It's a gunfight, and you decide I'm gonna just bring in a knife. And one of them butter knives, not one of them good knives. You're bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. They fight with guns, and you fighting with a butter knife, and you think I'm supposed to be okay with that.
You're not supposed to be okay with it. In fact, the people who are okay with it, I'm not okay with them. Like all these Democrats who are just like pretending like things are normal. I'm like, this is not a normal
like
time.
James Carville. They're stealing our resources. Shut up.
Carville, first of all, people shouldn't be listening to him, kind of like we were talking about before, because it's almost like I've gotten to this point with crooked media. Like sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. I really don't like them now because we're in a moment where things need to be different. And they're still just, huh?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, they're still just towing the party line, which doesn't help anyone. I'm like, the Democrats need to be better, right? We don't need you to just be present. We need you to be better. And you know that you need to be better because all of your voters are telling you that, except for the ones who put money in your pocket. And you're only listening to the ones who put money in your pocket because to you it's still business as usual. So that's why I say the Democrats need to go. But for this election, because we're danger close, we have not done all the work we need to do to either reform the party, change the party, or replace the party, then you got to vote for that party. That's where you're at. But please, folks, can we let this be the last time? Like we said, we didn't want to do this again the previous time. And the previous time to that.
But and this is where, again, the media plays a role. And this is what I say every time I interview a third-party candidate, because literally I think I'm up to 100 interviews. And it's the same thing over and over. This is what the media will say. Well, I'm going to vote. You should just vote for the lesser of two evils. If I hear that one more time, because I'm done with it. Because for me and a voter like me, when you take away one evil, you still got this other one out here. Now, whether you can equip yourself to fight that evil, that's a whole. Now, if they were going to make that type of argument where they would say, yeah, we're not where we should be. We're not where we should be, but we're striving. This Democrat, they
So
literally
this party
don't
doesn't even do
listen
that.
to their
Yeah, this
own
party don't even do that.
influence. Like,
But here's where I'm gonna push back. I hear people say this all the time from the third party and independent space. Stop telling me vote for the lesser of two evils. Okay. Tell me where in life you're not choosing between the lesser of two evils.
there's I can't think of anything right now. I'm sure if
Anything
I
of
could
importance, you are picking between the lesser of two evils because we don't have any angels out there. So you're always making that choice. You're always deciding, do I get this or I get that? Do I do this or I do that? That is how it is. But here's what it sounds like to me when I hear someone say, I'm tired of hearing about lesser of two evils. That would be like me out, I'm just me, and a group of people come up with bats and they want to attack me. And another group comes over and they have sticks, right? So not as robust as a bat, but they got sticks. And the third party is standing over there and they're just like, I can't choose which one is worse for you. So I'm just gonna leave. So I'm still sitting here and I'm like, I
That's
gotta
an
deal with
extreme
both of them.
example because what you're okay. So here's what when I hear that argument that I should just vote for a Democrat, I
I'm not
don't
telling
like.
you that.
No,
I'm
but
challenging your position.
I'm saying that I'm tired of hearing it's like, yeah, we're terrible, but we're not as terrible as they are. Well, in my eyes, you are as terrible as they are. One, because you're complicit. You sit there, you let them do whatever they want, and then you want me to turn around and vote for you? You want me to vote for you? You ain't did not damn thing I asked. You haven't held town hall meetings. You haven't engaged into the community. The only time you show up is every 2 years when you get elected. Looking for a little heck, I'm looking for at least a
I hear
town
you.
hall meeting.
I
At
hear you.
least that do
And
that.
if people like me were trying to make a case that the Democrats were good, then I would be 100% with you. Because
That's 2 years old.
that's a
Well,
bad case
we're
to
not
make.
they're terrible, but they're not
But here,
as bad. But
but
they're
here's the thing.
not.
But
I'm
here's the
like,
thing. To me, especially if you back out of it and come back and then come back to it, saying that two things that are obviously not the same are the same is the most simplistic thinking you could ever have. Because
never said I was complex.
nothing in life functions that way. Nothing. So if you go and you look at it like, well, they're both just as bad as the other. Okay, well, show me the legislation where the Democrats took away women's autonomy. You can't do it. All you can say to me, though, is, but the Democrats, when they had the chance, they didn't fight to protect it from what was likely to come. Yeah, but that's not the same thing, right? Someone stealing from you is not the same as someone not calling the cops when they see somebody
Okay,
steal
but
from
I'll
you.
give
Not
you
the
a
same.
good example of why I say this. So think about the 2024 election, and I'll leave it alone after this. You had Harris versus Trump. Now y'all know good and well I didn't vote for neither one of them because I was like they both said exactly the same thing about Israel. Israel has a right to exist. We're gonna give Israel
Okay.
everything they need. You didn't even
Yeah.
have Harris saying, hey, I'm going to move the embassy out of Jerusalem and put it back in Tel Aviv. She didn't even say that. She heard
She
Trump
didn't say that
almost saying,
because her boss is a Zionist.
you mean her husband? You said
No,
her boss.
her boss, Biden, her boss. She was a sitting vice president. She still had a
Oh,
boss.
yeah. I'm like, well, no, you mean her husband. Because I know her husband is a Zionist. But what I'm saying is, like their Israel policy, and maybe because I'm saying this because I ain't a fan, I'm like, this is exactly the same. Like,
I agree with you.
exactly.
Well, it's not exactly the same. No, not exactly the same.
And
Because
she can say,
Trump,
I worked
no,
tirelessly. And then Intercept finds them documents saying, oh, no, we're going to give y'all more money when we get in.
but what I'm saying, and this is why I push back in these points, because the truth is bad enough to not have to embellish it, right? they're not exactly the same because Trump was the one who moved the embassy. Trump was the
right?
one who promised to give more freedom and flexibility to Netanyahu. Trump was making these overtures, right? Harris just was towing the line. Biden was towing the line. So if you want to put them on equal ground, okay, cool. I'm not going to argue that because I think both of them had the absolute wrong position when it comes to Palestine. But I think America has had the wrong position on Palestine for 60, 70, 80 years.
80, 90
So,
years, yes. I
yeah,
would agree
so
with that.
it's kind of like that's America. Like that's literally America's position. So both of them were basically having America's position. Fine. But what's of interest to me is for people who like when we've had some of our conversations, and I've had a couple like out in the streets, but international affairs isn't even their top 5 most important items. So if they're both relatively equal as far as how bad they are on this issue, wouldn't you then look at your top 5 issues and see who has a better balance there, or top 10
Well,
issues and see who has a better balance there?
if I'm looking at my top 5, neither of them met my top 5. Trump literally said of reparations that the civil rights movement hurt white men. So you already know he's not for reparations. He's not for the Green New Deal. He's definitely not for Medicare for all. He's definitely not for forgiveness of student loan debt. And he's not for reducing our military.
But Kamala was in favor of student loan debt. She was in favor of housing assistance. She was in favor
Housing.
of the not universal health care, but that the other weirdness that they always come
She
with,
wanted to expand
public
Obamacare.
public option thing. Yeah,
Yeah, the public option, which is
but
literally
with no public option, it has some value. It's not the solution, you know, because here's what public option actually would do.
you
It
buying
would
your own
back
policy from Anthem. Like, really? Y'all still
do a what?
think? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. What were you saying?
I'm just saying the public option to me, I'm because Medicare for all, that's my issue, right? I'm like, it's all or nothing. It's like it's either you go do it or you not. That's
How
me.
many people suffer in the midst of your all or nothing approach?
Too many.
And is that acceptable, allowable, or just
I
what it's got
think
to be?
what has to happen, I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. And
Okay,
no
so
matter how
as we walk down that path, right? So now some people just got to suffer because until we get it fixed, there's no sense in improving it.
but
Fix it.
we know what the fix should be. We absolutely positively know universal health care is the fix to what we have going on right now.
It is a fix. We
It's
got a
a
lot
fix.
going on. We got a lot
Yeah,
going on.
but it's better.
Yeah.
Universal health care is better than the health care that we got right now. Which
How is the public option significantly
the
different
public
from
option
universal?
for me, the way I understand the public option, and I may not have full understanding of it, is when you're allowed to just purchase your insurance from Cigna, and you could just go out and purchase your own policy. You determine what your benefits are. You determine the copays. You determine the out of pockets. And for me, that's not good. One, because insurance is very, 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 very complicated. And it's not
Mhm.
based off of just one thing. So, what people end up doing is if something costs less, they'll do it. So, if there's 3 policies, you got your gold, your silver, your bronze.
Right.
If bronze costs less, it covers less. But I'm going to buy bronze because, well, it's only $80 a month. Whereas if I bought gold, which is 540, that's going to cover me the best. But people, because money tight, they go for that third option, which really is not really covering. It's giving you your basic, like your routine thing.
Catastrophic care.
Right. It's doing catastrophic care. But don't have a disease that you live with every day. Oh no. So
So here's the
death is
thing.
offer you. You can't even, like, when I look at insurance, I don't even look at the lowest because I already know, oh, well, this is not going to be for me. I got to figure out how am I going to make it? And then the deductible is high. So if you're in a high deductible plan, which is
which
under the
is
public
where they push
option,
most people.
right? If you're under a high deductible plan and you got to meet minus 5,000, there's no way I'm going to spend as many hospital stays as I've had this year due to my diabetes. I'm still not hitting 5,000. I haven't even hit 2,000 yet. Thankfully, because I haven't been that ill, but I've still had to make those visits. So if you think about the way I understand the public option is, it's it's better than what we have now. It's definitely not it's not a solution. It definitely isn't. Because for me, when insurance companies, when you get that third party payer that uses AI to make decisions on what they're going to cover and what they're not going to cover, that's where public option is always going to lose me.
Hmm.
Always.
So here's the thing, and like you, full disclosure, I may not have a full grasp on all of those things, right? But to my understanding, the public option is an option. So the private industry will still be doing what it does, right? But there would then be a plan or a host of plans that are administered by the government. That's your public option. So you, in a manner of speaking, you could like buy into Medicare early. Is kind of what happens. So this one allows a person or family to opt into the public or the government insurance, or you can stay with the private health insurance if that's what you just feel like you want to do. Versus the universal health care, which would replace the private industry. I still think even if you did it, you still have a private industry, right? It'll just be very much smaller. But there you have that, and people just automatically or have access to it because of I guess their citizenship, right? Now, I don't know. I guess I just feel like the universal plan is what we need as a nation. You
It makes the
satisfy.
most cheaper. It's the cheapest one to
It's not
administer.
necessarily, but it's
It's
it's the one that covers the most people. And all you really need is proof of citizenship, and you're done, right? I mean, you got your tax system, which we have to revise and fix, but those two have to work in concert, though. If you're going to do universal health care, you got to address taxes. So you're talking on two elephants that you got to go and deal with. But I do think, like you said, it is what America should. I think it's just, it is criminal
and
that
the
we don't have that.
interesting thing about Harris, she was for universal health care when she first ran for president in 2020.
She had to pull back on that.
I'm like, if she had just stayed right there, just on that one of my 5 issues, just stayed right
You
there,
still wouldn't have supported her.
I would have considered it.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm not going to say I would have voted for
Gaza still would have been the breaking point. Like, it'd have been.
Well, no, like I said, if she did that and said, "Hey, I'm for the arms embargo," now the arms embargo is something I don't want. I think and I don't think a permanent ceasefire is the right way. But if she had said one of those two, well, it's a step. It's not the step that I would be like 100% for, but I'm like 80-20. I'd be 80-20 on it. Well, when I'm gonna give Israel everything in there. Oh, girl, you lost me. She's literally.
It's not a judgment. This isn't a judgment.
I was like, girl, you done lost me. You done lost me.
I mean, it's not a judgment, but let's just be real. She never had you. There was literally nothing she could do that would have got you.
She did very little, and there was nothing she could. After she said that's it, I was like, well, that's it. I'm done.
So without continuing to relitigate the past,
more than Joe Biden. Oh, I went. There was no way. Ain't no way. Nope.
Right, but with taking all of that, and now we got to look at where we are and in the future, right? We've talked about how we got here,
Yeah.
but because of the decisions that you, me, and others like us made, we're where we are now.
Yep.
Now, personally, I put the majority of the blame. If we're going to do like you were saying, like with numbers, I put 80% of the blame on the people who went in and voted for this. Whatever the reasons for people who didn't vote for it, sat home, did whatever they want to do, voted third party, whatever, they fall on the 20%. 80%.
I don't even think that third party voters are to blame.
Hear what I'm saying, because every time somebody starts talking about these things, third party people and independent people want to be like, oh no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Even if you ran all of us together, it couldn't have been me. That's not the point. I'm saying that y'all did factor into it, just like the rest of us. I'm just saying it's the math, it's numbers. But what I'm saying is, even so, it's the people who voted for this. It's the people who went in and said, I want racism. I want classism. I want this. I want the people who literally said, hey, this man got 54 charges. I think we should give him another try. I will always blame them more. So now here we are. And they passed their big, beautiful monstrosity. It's now law. And consequences are coming. And people are not ready for these consequences. Like you touched on earlier, they're not ready. When the bill was passed, we knew Part D supplements were about to go away. We knew it. But now the clock is here.
Yeah, we did, and he purposely put it after the midterms. Like right after midterms, there was like what, November the 3rd?
Not sure on the date, but I know that everything was timed.
Whatever that first Tuesday is, I think is, yes, everything is after. That's it happened in December. Another thing is going to come back. The draft is coming back. I don't think people realize that the automatic draft is coming back.
Well, now, that's mainly because we go into war fighting in the 1990s style.
Think about what Hexas and others like him have said. They don't want trans people in the military. They don't want black people in the military. They don't want women in the military. They don't want people of Arab descent in the military. Well, who the heck is left?
Hey, this is one of the few times that racism is actually kind of working in our favor. So you decided to go and start a war, but you made sure that you fired many.
Racism is working in our favor.
They decided that they were going to be racist and fire people just for how they look, and then go start a war. And not only did they do that, not only did they fire a lot of high-ranking and professional people who were women, black, or trans, or any other demographic that they just didn't feel was right. They do that, and now they want to go and medically experiment on these soldiers that are left. So, yeah, racism is expensive. In a perfect world, I would say any brother and sister out there, if you have the option to not re-enlist, don't. Now, here's the bad thing about the military, though. Even if you benefits. No, it's not that. Benefits oftentimes can keep somebody feeling like they're captive. But if you are at your 4 years and it's time for you to decide if you're going to re-enlist or get out, and you decide, okay, I want to go ahead and get out, they can say no.
Yep, they sure can. And
they can call you back. And they can call you back. So
and they will.
Yeah, so it's a tough thing. But the draft, that's a consequence of what we're dealing with. So what I'm interested in, and I'm sorry I took all this time and we didn't even get into what I was going to do. So I'm gonna bring up. I guess. I'm here. No, it's my fault. You know how I do. I make everything take too long. So yeah, maybe let's just do my list some other time. So let's just stay here. So we have the situation where the Iran war continues. Right. And from what we can tell, it ain't going well.
Nope.
So
it's going great according to Trump. It's going great.
Yeah, but, according to Trump, we've already won, but we're still there. And the objective is now to open the Strait of Hormuz, the strait that was open before we attacked their country. That country. Yeah.
Then we attacked their country and asked why they fighting back. I said it was gonna just roll over. Okay, you kick me, I ain't gonna kick you back. Oh, okay.
He was told that they will roll over because I'll tell you, Zach, first of all, this is a predator mentality. He has a predator mentality, and that is that the wolf takes because it can take, right? It is the dominant creature in the forest. So if for some reason a wolf attacks a deer and the deer, instead of running away, it squares up to fight the wolf, from the wolf's perspective, something's wrong with that deer.
Yep.
Right? The deer is supposed to run. So that is the mentality that these Europeans in power are following. And I say the Europeans because the European nations are acting the same way. They're just not being as loud about it. Because reality is, based off of what happened with Israel and the US, all these European nations that have been dumped on by the US president for a couple years now, they didn't turn away. They just got quiet.
Yeah, because you notice where our allies at. They just out here just ain't saying nothing. No England, no France, no.
But they're still sending weapons. They're still doing all those things. So they're still on side. So it's like, at this point, well, I won't say that. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, we got this war going on. We got what America did in Venezuela, right? America is in Iran, telling Iran and the nation of Oman what they can and can't do with their waterway. Could you imagine any nation at all, telling America what it can do in the Gulf? Would never happen. The moment you start sending your ships over here, talking about you're going to blockade the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America,
Thank
whatever
you for calling it that. No, I refuse to call it Gulf of America. It's the Gulf of Mexico. That's what it is. It don't matter to me. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, of all the things to be concerned about, that don't bother me. But yeah, but America would never tolerate that. But we somehow pretend as though we pretend as though we have the authority to do this over there. Why? Because we have weapons. And if you listen to the American public, they're already shifting into this weird patriotic thing where there's like, yeah, we might have started the fight, but we got to finish it. No, you need to leave.
You need to leave, say you lost, and say, hey, you know what? Our bad.
You ain't even got to say you lost. Just leave. Because Iran is like this, man. Iran is real smooth about it. They're like, look, man, if you hit me, I hit back. But you're too big for me to hit you. Okay? So I will hit your stuff wherever it is in this area until you leave me alone.
That's an underestimation. I mean, the man don't listen to his generals. His generals have literally said, hey, this is a bad thing to do. But because girl and who wanted the embassy move from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem said, hey, go to war, and Netanyahu, whose butt Trump is kissing, said it, well, you got to do it. We're fighting with Cuba. What did Cuba do to us again? I don't even know. Like, what we're doing to Cuba is literally a war. It is a crime. A crime.
But the thing is, it is a crime. It is a crime. But a crime only matters if someone has enforcement power. So America chose not to be a member of the International Criminal Court. Right. So we can't be subject to their rules. So you can call it a war crime.
Nobody's kicking us out of the United Nations.
Can't kick us out of the United Nations because we got veto power, right? Plus, we're the most. We do most of the funding for the United Nations. What you gonna do? You gonna come? You gonna write me a sternly written letter or something? What you gonna do?
It's
right?
like the bully. It's like America is a bully, a big,
Yes,
ugly, and if citizens are saying, "Hey, no, we want us first," but is our government listening to us? Nope.
because we've
When
taught our government not to listen to us, and we've allowed them to get to the point that they don't have to. And then you look at what's happening right now because it's an election season. The Republicans are pretending to separate just a little bit from Trump, but that's just so it can create a smoke screen for people to be like,
Yeah, smoke screen. Oh, well, I can vote for. He kind of. That's we got a good senator, Mike Todd. He's a good one. He a good one. He a good one that does that. He'll say, I'm concerned. He's a senator from the state of Indiana. I'm concerned that Trump is doing this. He ain't never once voted against anything that Trump has ever wanted. Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. But he puts up him and Susan Collins. She's another one. Well, I'm concerned. And she'll pretend to be like she's fighting, but she ain't fighting.
And to reinforce your point, people like Ossoff and Warnock on the Democratic side, all of a sudden they got all kind of voice, but didn't have a voice a year ago. They
Yeah,
didn't have a voice 2 years
it's
ago.
like, where was y'all a year ago?
So it's like
But
they're
them
all.
senators, not mine. But
I get it,
I
but
can't talk.
I'm just talking about on a party level because I don't really care at the individual level too much. But it's like this is the game, and they're playing the game as usual. So that only can say that one of two things: either one, they don't understand what's going on, and I reject that because be you a
But they know
Democrat,
exactly what's going on.
yeah,
They,
whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, these are some of the most intelligent and driven people in our nation. So they're not dumb. They're crooked or they're cynical. It's one of the two. So,
or complicit, which is even worse.
yeah.
As complicit, you just sit there and what you know is wrong, but you like, I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter. A
Look
letter.
is it Andy Bashir in Kentucky? Look at this guy,
Don't
right?
don't get
So
me started on that mess.
they're all just playing this game. So that is why I'm saying that we have to replace the Democratic Party. I'm just saying that the replacement isn't ready yet. So I will change my tune when the replacement is more ready. Until then, I got to vote for these busters if I vote, right? So then I'm looking at it from the black perspective. So when we talk about on a national perspective, that's where I'm like, well, guys, this is where we are right now. Go vote for the Democrats because we don't have what we need to replace them yet. That's a national discussion. That is how I feel truly about politics as a big thing. But then looking at it just from the black perspective, we have lost a lot of our power politically. Not only are our protections have been stripped away, which were immediately attacked by the Republicans. They weren't attacked by the Democrats. They were attacked by the Republicans. But our protections have been attacked. Our numbers are smaller. So honestly, if you're just looking at it from the black perspective, doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. You can't change no elections, except for maybe local elections. You can change some local elections.
You can't. I'm really disagree with you because even if I say whether it's local or federal, it depends on the office, right? You there to me, you're not a good candidate if you don't engage with the black community. You're just not. One, because I'm black. What you
Well,
gonna
they're
do
all
for me?
engaged. They just don't do anything.
No. Well, that was gonna be my second point.
I'm sorry.
That's no, that's okay. But what I'm saying is when you hear black people criticize the Democrat Party, and they say, that's why I stayed off the couch. I stay on the couch because they don't do anything. My contention is, okay, then stop voting for them and vote for the third party candidate. Because for me, somebody doesn't have to be black to have a pro-black agenda. They don't have to be. It'd be
I
nice
don't
if they
even
were.
I don't
I
even
mean, it'd
need you
be
to have a
good.
pro-black agenda. I need you to not have an anti-black agenda. And
That's
my
a good point.
politician doesn't have to be black. My politics are black, but my politician doesn't have to be black.
Yeah, they don't have to be black. I mean, it'd be nice.
It's nice. It helps. But
Right,
we
but
don't
I'm
have the
saying
best.
if you look at and I always hate to use reparations as the figure. All I keep hearing from the Democrats, we need a study. We need a study. No, we'll need no more studies. We do not need any more studies. So when I hear a Democrat, I don't care if it's local, I don't care if it's federal, say we need a study to see if reparations for the Black community is something we can do. And I've seen you do it for the Asian community. I've seen you do it
It's a
for
completely
survivors
different
of the
argument.
Holocaust. That is the same argument. I've seen this nation has done reparations for other groups. I've seen it.
Yeah. But the reason why I say it's a different argument. You can't compare. The only other group you can compare a reparations package to for us is the indigenous Americans, right? And America violated every single treaty and everything else they ever did for them. But you can't compare us to what they did with Japanese internment. The Holocaust and genocide against our people is massively larger than what they
It is
did
larger,
there.
but I'm saying if you can do it for that group, don't tell me, oh, we need a study. I don't need no more studies. I need no more studies.
Well,
I mean, in
the
other words,
longer it takes for them to do something, you absolutely need new studies. My problem is they're not doing anything, which is why the studies become so annoying, right? And then they don't even do the studies. Like they just say we need one and don't do one, right? But that's a secondary thing for me. For me, I am a strong advocate for reparations. That is not my political concern right now. It's just is not. What's more important to me right now is this country needs to redefine what it's going to be coming forward because I don't want my children growing up with less rights. Okay. Now, we can get to the reparations. We can get to reparations next cycle or the cycle after that because we've been fighting for reparations for 300 years. But, well, technically 180 years. But what is currently afflicting my community is the way that they've weaponized blackness, period. So my children literally have less rights than I had. And I ain't even have all my rights. So I'm sorry. Reparations is important. Not going to be like the thing that's not the hill I'm going to die on.
it's a hill that I'm on because it's one of my top 5. But here's what I will say. And this is another reason I said I'm done with the Democrats. It's like they absolutely need the Black. When I'm talking about federal elections, I'm talking anything United States Senate and above that is president. You have to have the Black community to win. You
Yeah.
cannot
Because the Latin
win
vote is
a
split.
yeah, they're split, right? You have to absolutely have the Black vote to win. So you would think, oh, well, we got in office because of this group. While they scratch our backs, we'll scratch theirs. That's what common sense would tell you.
But that's not what we've taught them.
The opposite.
That's not
No,
what we've
we
taught them.
haven't because we keep saying, well, the next time. No, don't give them your vote. Don't stay at home because I'm not one that says stay at home because I'm like I don't care if it's for dog catcher. You show up and you vote. But
If it's not going to do
I'm
anything, it doesn't matter.
I'm saying it can do something with the right candidate. And sometimes that
Do we?
candidate may not win their first election.
But do we
I
have the
mean,
right candidate?
I think we're close. I do think
If
we're
we don't
close.
have the right candidate, I'm voting for the wrong candidate.
And then who's the right candidate?
I don't know. You introduced the concept of the right candidate, but we don't have the right candidate.
I think there's
So
a lot of
my
right
voting
candidates out
for
there.
me voting for not the right candidate or me voting for no candidate at the end of the tally still comes out the same way because it really comes back to what we were saying a little earlier about how even if all the independents even though truly with the margin being about 1.5% or some craziness like that, y'all really could have tipped it. But I understand why people didn't. But where I would like to look at, so we don't always get stuck with
convince us that voting for you is a good idea. Have I don't know, a platform, a whole, this is what I'm gonna do. This. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I was trying to go because we oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this big time, getting stuck regurgitating and rehashing the past. And I'm like, okay, if the Democratic Party is not the right place to vote, Republicans are not the right place to vote. Like they're not even in my consideration bucket. Um, so then it's Democrat or third party or stay at home. Those are my options. And then I have the exact same critique or ask for 2 out of 3 of those options. Because see, stay at home, I can tell you why stay at home is good. It's my house.
Yeah, I ain't gotta go nowhere. I don't gotta
You
spend
know
no
what I'm
gas. I ain't gotta stand in no line. I ain't gotta show no
saying? Yeah.
ID.
But for the Democratic Party and the third party, I view them as having the exact same problem, just in a difference of degree. Neither of them are making a clear case why me, why you should vote for me, right? Like the third parties are saying you should vote for us because we're not the Democrats, and the Democrats are saying you should vote for us because we're not the Republicans. Neither of those are. Here's what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. I can hear a lot of people tell you, here's what I want to do. But it's like, no, what you're going to do and how are you going to do it? And the Democrats refuse to answer those 2 questions. And third parties will start to answer the first question, but they won't answer the second question. So why would I vote for?
I see where you're going, but I would slightly disagree because I've interviewed so many third party candidates. And for me, some of them have very terrible agendas. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, bro, you really want to? Do you really think that's gonna actually work? Like getting rid of House of Representatives and just everybody answer you that not gonna work on no type of level.
That's that one
But
dude from Indiana, right?
yeah. But then I hear something like I'm for Medicare for because first I had to know what you're for, right? I have to know
Mm-hmm.
what you're for, and I often ask, and I ask this question pretty much every interview. When you're in there and you're the only one who's an independent, how do you carry that? Because a lot of weight is on you now because you're not like them and you're not like them. Now you're standing out. Your vote, everybody's gonna come to you
You
for
have
your
the
vote.
hardest job.
You do have the hardest job, absolutely. But that's
Yeah.
why we have to encourage more people to run third party so it can be more of them and not just that one lone person
We
standing
have
out
to,
there doing.
but you got to improve the quality of them because just saying vote for me because I'm not them, it's the same argument that the Democrats are using. So for all of us disaffected Democrats, and I think there are a lot of us, um,
You
we're
don't have
having
DSA now.
now the DSA to me is not the disaffected Democrats. The DSA to me are like the young progressives, right? Because progressives they got a kind of good bandwidth of age, like 40s down to the 20s. DSA are like your young ones, your 20s and 30-year-olds who think that they can get into the system and force a change from within. But they're still just progressives. It's just got a new name. Okay, cool. Let's see what they do, where they are. But that's a really good model for what maybe third parties can maybe adopt and expand upon, right? But you got to get in the chair somehow. And what I'm hoping to work with you and others to maybe push people to do or help me see how they're already doing it. But answer my second question: how are you going to deliver? Because if you're just gonna just throw a bunch of third parties in there, but none of them can tell me how they're gonna deliver, then they're just gonna get in there and get paid. No matter what they say, they're gonna get in there and they're just gonna get paid because they're not gonna be able to do anything. The Democrats are gonna fight them. The Republicans are gonna
Well,
fight
let's
them.
just think about it like this, and I'll say this in defense. Let's just say, whose race can I pick? Who do I know that's running for Congress? One of the people who I have interviewed, and they win their congressional seat. They just flat out win. because there's one libertarian but one green. I'm going to go with green because I still have my misgivings about the Libertarian Party. But anyway, so let's just say they win. Well, first of all, they win is a big upset. They're going to get put on the worst committee that the House has. They're going to get put, I mean,
and
just
they'll
the
never get to
worst.
speak.
That's it. So now you have to come up with using social media and getting your message out there and having your own pocket because you're going to get a terrible assignment. You're never going to be allowed to speak on the floor. I think there's a rule that says they have to be allowed to speak. I'm almost
I
certain
don't
of
know.
that.
If that's the case, ain't too many people taking advantage of it.
But they'll let them speak, but it'll be like one other person there. It'd be like them and somebody else way up over there in the corner that's half asleep. So you already know going in, you're at an extreme disadvantage. So you're going to have to figure out, how do I use the media to get to where I'm getting to? How do I connect with my voters and tell those voters to connect to other places? So, for example, and I've said this before, if I'm proposing a Medicare for all bill, and I know this committee won't hear it, I'm going to hold a town hall meeting and say, hey, and let's just say Michigan is the state that's giving me trouble. Michigan just won't listen. Their congressperson isn't listening. I'm reaching out. I'm telling the people in my audience in Indiana, hey, reach out to your friends in Michigan and
Yeah,
tell
I
them to
agree.
call this number and get a hearing set.
That's probably
You
the best
have
thing
to
you
do
can do.
things like that because you're
Mhm.
going to be at such a disadvantage. Like I said, you're going to get the worst committee ever. You'll never be allowed to speak. You won't, if, well, they have to invite you to the presidential State of the Union address because you're a member of
Doesn't
Congress.
matter. You're just a seat filler.
Yeah, you're just there. You're not going to get to say anything. Nobody's going to come to you and talk about anything. You're going to be all by yourself. And can you take that? You're going to have enough. You have to have it within yourself that I'm going to do right no matter what, because you're going to be the only one there.
Yes, but that's all super important and it's very true. But what I'm saying is, if that is how the person already thinks of what they're going to be doing, then why am I voting for you again? Now, I can answer that. I'm voting for you because I need you to be the alternative to me voting for one of them other things. But having voted for you, what are you going to do? Because I'm
Right.
not there for
Like I
you.
say,
Because if you're just going to be a seat filler, this is what's going to happen. You're either going to get pushed out of there or you're going to start taking money.
and that you would hate. But if you're in your third party goals and you're not taking PAC money, you have to have a system that supports you because you in for a re-election fight that's gonna take everything. Because trust me, they get beat once, that's all it's gonna take them. They're gonna be like, oh no, I'm not gonna let this happen again. So we gotta call this person, this person, this person. They're coming after you. So you've got to establish that core group of supporters that are going to support you. It has to be done because if you don't have it, you will take the money because you'll be like, well, shoot, they taking it. Why can't I take it? I'll just use it for good.
That and you're being ignored every day. Your staff
Yeah.
doesn't have what it needs. And so you
If you get a
slowly but
staff,
surely, yeah, you slowly but surely start, you know, and that's why you got to send a lot. But fine, if you want me to send more of you, then I mean, this is me. I would like for you to be a unified third party, you know, if it's the Greens, if it's Libertarian, whatever it is. But you went in almost like you are Democrats or Republicans. You just happen to be this third party thing. So you have support at the state levels. You have a network of donors and supporters. You have the way enough podcast space that's looking for you, so that if you can't speak in Congress, you can show enough get in front of a microphone on Joe Rogan or whomever these other people are and get to talking, right? You got to be able to do something to show that it was
yeah,
worth
you're
me
gonna
voting
have
for
to
you
because
versus them.
mainstream media, they're not gonna put you on their platform. You're the person that went against the status quo.
Well, I
So
think as this is my view. If I were to run for national office, let's say I ever did, I think, and now this could change, but I don't think so. I'm not going to do national media. Just not going to do it.
I wouldn't either. Why? Because all you're gonna do is ask stupid questions that make no sense. You're gonna twist every answer I say.
Yeah.
Yes, as much as I don't like his show, give me Joe Rogan every single day of the week, every day. And I can't stand his show, by the way. Cannot
Yeah, I
stand it.
can't stand him either, but because I think he's very intelligent, but he talks like he's stupid because he's playing down to his audience. But yeah, there's plenty of the new media is where you need to be anyway. So there's no reason to talk to CNN. There's no reason to talk to MSN.
Yeah, just
There's
go to
no
the
reason
Young
to talk to
Turks.
Fox.
I mean,
Just
literally,
ignore
just
them.
go to the Young Turks. They have 6 million subscribers.
Go to the Young Turks. Go to Sam Cedar. Go to Crooked Media. Go to Joe Rogan. Go
Breaking
to
Point. Yeah.
Yeah, go to all of them. Go to all of them and do your thing, right? But basically follow the Pete Buttigieg model. You know, just go on out there and talk to everybody. But don't waste your time with the national media because one, you're never going to have a real airing of an idea. You have 30 seconds and then they distort everything you said during those 30 seconds.
And
So,
then they'll ask you, are you a spoiler? I know the perfect
yep.
answer
Are
to
you a
that.
spoiler and what's your position on Israel?
Yep.
You're
And
running for
that's how
office in New
New York
Mexico.
City.
And I'm just
Yep,
saying,
no,
you're running for office in New
no,
Mexico.
but using something that actually happened. The mayoral race in New York City, they literally said, well, what foreign country would you? And this was what really got Mandami to boost. His answer was brilliant, but it was like, oh, dude, they all Israel, Israel. And Mandami was like,
Mhm.
I would stay in New York City.
And they've
Well,
been mad
there's
about it
a
ever since.
I'm like, well,
And
yes.
now they're doing it to Syed. And it's like the straw that they draw between the two of them is, oh yeah, I know you're not in New York and you don't have as large of a Muslim population in Michigan, and it's implied that you have a very large Muslim population in Michigan, but we're going to pretend like that's not the case. But hey, you look to be Middle Eastern, and he looks to be Middle Eastern. So, what do y'all think about Israel?
It got nothing
I'm
to do.
in
I'm
Michigan.
eating. It's like I'm in Michigan. Michigan. I mean, he's never said Israel comes to me in my dream. Girl, that's gonna go down as one of the dumb. I'm like, girl, who told you? Who? And
But the
then
only
get
people who
mad.
care about that are the people who don't already support Israel. So she won't be hurt by that. Um, I hope she just loses because she's a terrible candidate. Terrible candidate. Um, but hey, we've talked on a good bit. I thank you for coming to hang out with me. Is there anything you want to share with the crew about the things you're working on?
Tomorrow's show is going to be lit. I do not have a guest, so I'm telling you now. I'm talking about uh, Cori Bush's race in Missouri and why her she beats the snap crackle pops out of Wesley Bell. Her, I'm going to be talking about the Michigan race. I'm going to be talking about Maine, and I hope Troy Jackson is really not in a relationship with his second cousin. I can't. I can't. I'm just hoping that's not true, but I'm going to talk about the implications of that. I'm also going to talk about the majority of the show, Part D, Medicare just disappearing, and how did we even let this get to this point, and what we can actually do. Um, and then August the 15th, we have our first ever attempt at State of the Black Male Voter. I have done this for 4 years, but I've always done it with a female panel. This will be the first year it will be an all male panel, which means, yes, it will be on my channel, but no, you will not see me. You will see five talented, articulate. I hate to say that, but I did say it, but that's okay because we just
You say
assumed it.
words real good.
Yes, but they will discuss all types of issues. That's August the 15th. It's at 6. And we're just cranking out those interviews. I've got a whole bunch more scheduled. It is what it is, y'all. But as always, just tune in tomorrow because we've got a big, 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 big show tomorrow. Big, big, bigly.
Yes, it's only the biggest of the bigs. Hey, I got a question just because you mentioned it. Wesley Bell. Um,
Give me APAC bill. I call him APAC bill. Everybody that takes APAC money, I just put APAC on in their first name. I don't even call him Wesley. I'm just calling him APAC bill.
well, it seems like only recently has APAC been an issue for people for funding. But yeah, I hear you. Um,
Oh, he's disgusting because he had told Cori Bush, "Hey, I'm not going to run against you. I'm not going to run against you." Which
is he the
she
one who
was
took
like,
her seat? Oh,
"Yeah."
okay. Okay, cool. That makes sense
And
then.
I'm also going to make a why I think Nina Turner needs to run for Chantel Brown's seat.
She's in Ohio, right? What state
Yes,
is Nina?
Ohio. Nina's in Ohio. I know she's working on the Target protest, but I'm like, put that aside and go in there and take Chantel out of office, please.
Yeah, we need to go ahead and end this. But I mean, what is there to work on a target process? I mean, like
They made an attempt. They showed that the black dollar has power, but they
oh
didn't get anything that they
no, I'm
wanted.
for it. I mean, I'm for it from the standpoint of I think it showed black solidarity in an era that we hadn't seen it in a while. And so I'm 100% for what they did accomplish and what they did show. It's just at this point in 2026, uh, that should be over because effectively it's over. Black folks ain't boycotting Target. We just don't go anymore. Like,
They never went in the first place. How many black people
well,
did?
I love Target.
Yeah.
Target
Only
was
thing
my
I
spot.
got for them was that bottled water, and I would just drive up. I didn't even go inside. They just brought it to my car. I'm like, okay.
Nah, Target was my spot. Full disclosure, I worked for them, but Target was definitely my spot. I did not.
They just a tier above Walmart. They literally are a
I mean,
better
that's
Walmart.
their number one competitor. But Walmart doesn't treat its people well. Walmart doesn't really drive diversity for real. Um, so Target always treated its people better. Target was always more accepting of people who are a part of the queer community. Target promoted people who looked like me and didn't look like me and all of those things. So there was a lot of good things about Target. There's a lot of problem things because I have a huge problem with hyper capitalism anyway, and Target is part of that system. So that's why I was like, okay, they boycotting Target. I don't know why we chose Target before we chose Walmart, but whatever. Um, but to say that we didn't shop there, yeah, middle class blacks, that's where we go,
I'm
especially
talking
here in
about us
Atlanta.
struggling black folk.
Especially in Atlanta.
I'm talking about us black people that eat syrup sandwiches. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
You talking
respect
about
that.
middle
But
class
Walmart
black?
ain't right though. Walmart don't treat their people right.
I'm not saying they do or don't. I'm just saying if you eating a syrup sandwich, you're gonna be better. You're gonna be cheaper going there than there. I didn't see nobody eat syrup sandwiches shopping at Target. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. Um, and now I'm going to sound really detached, and I'm sorry, but the few
Please don't
times
say
I
you
had
don't know what a syrup sandwich is
no
because
no no
of some.
no I
Oh,
mean my current me, I ain't eating a sandwich no way. Unless it's on a sub roll and it's got to have deli meat and deli cheese. And yeah, that's me. That's where I'm at now. But that wasn't me as a kid. Say what?
this is bougie.
I do have a touch of bougie. I ain't gonna lie. I want what I want, especially when it comes to food.
I'll eat
But
a
I'm not
peanut
gonna.
butter jelly sandwich and be totally satisfied. I'm like, okay.
But I can't go. I can't shop at Walmart just because I am morally against Walmart. So it's for me to go buy anything from Walmart. It's got to be like I gotta have this thing right now, and that's what's closest. So yeah, I don't mess with Walmart.
That's a good point.
You know,
I get because
so
it's the nearest store to me, except for that Kroger up the street that don't ever have nothing. But I mean, pick your poison. Publix has got problems. Kroger has problems with destroying its union.
capitalism has problems.
Yep,
Socialism is
it sure
not the
does.
solution. Socialism is not the solution. I'd be happy to have a whole discussion on that sometime. But the reality is, we have a hybrid system. We will always have a hybrid system. Our problem is how broken our hybrid system is. Our system is designed to satisfy capital, and it is designed to harm labor. We have to do something to
Yep.
adjust that.
And what we
But
do, a general strike. I will
I think we need a
support it
general
too.
strike. I think we do. But I think we need a general strike for political reasons. And it works well with economic reasons too, because if they keep grinding us all down like this, we ain't gonna be on strike. We just can't afford to get some food. So
Yep. And I will be doing a special show about general strike and why it hasn't happened because I'm like, this is the perfect time for one.
people are afraid of it, and who do we rally behind? Like, look at the Target. The Target one is a great example. I still, to this day, I don't know who the leaders are. Like, who can? Because like one leader is done with it, another leader is still doing it, another leader says no.
But why can't you have several leaders? Why do you have to have one leader?
Because no, well, you don't have to have a leader, but they need to act in concert, because otherwise you can't turn
Oh,
off the
well, I
boycott.
agree with that. You have a crew, you have like a
Yeah,
steering committee, like a 25. There's thousands, but at the top you got the 25 or some odd number, and
yeah.
then they make the decision. But I don't like that hierarchical thing either. That's what I don't like.
Well, see, the thing is, it's not even so much about having a hierarchy, even though I think you do need to have one, because um, a creature with more than one head is a monster. But when it comes to something like a boycott, it just seems like you can have multiple organizations involved, like I think we do. But the heads of those organizations, they need to be working in concert, because
Yeah,
why
not
did
just
you?
one saying it's over, and then it's
Yeah,
not over.
because you started
Is
the
it over? Is it
boycott.
not over? Is it over? Or
Facts,
not over?
because people like me confused, right? So, but it's
I
like,
mean, it's not like I'm going to go shop at Target tomorrow because I'm still protest because I don't go there no way. It wasn't really a protest for me because, like I
right,
said,
it was an easy one for you. I got you.
yeah, it was easy. I'm like, syrup sandwich.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
it's
you
like I ain't
say
stopped in no
protest
way. So,
Walmart.
yeah, cool.
That's going to be a little harder because I get my prescriptions from Walmart and it's
Yeah,
cheaper at Walmart.
yeah. So, but I'm saying that's the logical boycott point. Um, could you imagine trying to boycott Amazon at this point? That'd be rough for people. So, but what I was getting at is, a boycott is supposed to be a political tool that's leveraging economics. So that means we turn it on, we have demands, you satisfy our demands, we turn it off. Well, if you don't have anybody who's in charge of it, you can't turn
Yeah,
it
you have
off.
to right. You have to decide what it is that you want, what it is your demand, because you go in, you're asking them for 100. You want $75 million, but you ask for $275 million. You go
Mhm.
way above what it is that you actually want, and
But
you
you
have to
ask
determine
for
what's that
something.
point. Then you ask for something, but I'm saying you go way above what it is because that number is going to have, and that's what the public has to get. You're not gonna get. You ask for more, knowing I'm probably not gonna get 275.
Well,
I
that's
need
why you
good.
don't negotiate in public. That's why, if you know
Right, you
who
have
your
those
leaders are,
negotiation
yeah,
in private. They
if you know
decide
who
what the
your
terms
leaders
are.
are, if you know who your leaders are, right? They should be getting their motivation and a lot of their information from the masses that they are responsible to. They're not leading per se, like they're not the boss. They're the representative for this group. And then, based on what the group said this representative's parameters are, they go negotiate. Those representatives, those leaders go negotiate. But where I continue to have my biggest frustration is, turning on a thing is always easiest. It's not easy, but it's easiest, right? We
Turning
will
it
not
off is
shop
hard.
at McDonald's. As a collective black movement, we're not shopping at McDonald's. You get the right number or right caliber of black folks to say that, and then their followers say it, and then it spreads and it spreads. We stop going to McDonald's. Okay. Who can tell us when it's okay to eat at McDonald's again?
Yeah, you have to set the conditions first. We'll start eating back there when stop making those stereotypical racist commercials that they make. Oh my gosh, if y'all don't stop making them, stop it. Don't do it no more. Number two, stop with those stupid machines that you order your food and then you walk. No, get rid of those, get rid of the AI, and let me order with a person. That's another demand. You make demands, you know the demands before you head into the protest. That just is common sense. You know what your demands
Yeah.
are.
But
That's what
that's
they
our
did
week.
with the Montgomery bus boycott. They was like,
But
oh,
yeah.
black people
But
can't sit at the front until we sit at the front of the bus. We gonna walk. Now it took a year,
well,
but
here's a couple things with the bus boycott. I got to shut it down. But
yep, I know. I
what
keep
goes
going.
into
Sorry.
there were years of planning that went into that, so that when it became necessary, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was this plan is in place, and then when the moment was right, and that happened with good gracious,
The NAACP
right?
was
But
critical.
when it was time, they were able to turn it on. But when they turned it on, they also had the ability to have a plan where people were driving their personal cars to help people get where they were going, right?
Right. They
And
had
they
the system in place to.
exactly, you have a system in place first, so that when you turn on this consequence, you don't unduly hurt your people along the way. Some of them are going to get hurt anyway, but everybody doesn't have to get hurt. Now, if you're going to boycott Target, did you make sure that you were able to help buy these people's products that are repping our community? No, we didn't do that. We didn't have that structure. We didn't have it built. We didn't have the
Yeah, you
supply
could have
chain.
just put that on the website, like, hey, here are the black businesses that used to be in Target. Go buy. Buy
Exactly.
directly
At
from them.
least do that. Yeah. But we didn't do it because we didn't have the planning. But even so, that's fine. It's a growing process. But what brought us to this moment in this conversation was that, like, Nina's working on this, right, as an example of one of the power players that is trying to keep this thing organized and moving. Well, if Nina came on any network or any YouTube tomorrow and said, it's over, it'll be just like when Pastor Bryant said, there will be another prominent person who will pop up and say, I ain't agree to that.
Right. You got to know the conditions that you're going to turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah. So, yep, it's a tool. It's a tool in the toolkit, but we got to do a little bit better with how we use it. I think we might have learned some great lessons from this one. But if we do another boycott and we don't come better than we did the last time, less people will respond to it.
Yeah, and I think there's some great things that we need to be like, you know what, we ain't spending our money with them no more. It's over until you do XYZ.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna leave with this, because it is about my work and my program. So one of the things I wanted to do, I actually pulled back from it because I got some feedback from us folk about why it wouldn't work. Is like I'm an advocate that all of us who have a website, we would create a tab on our website and we would start to promote Black owned businesses. That doesn't mean you writing commercials and doing nothing for them. It's just literally a business card sized marker on your website. And it's just that page. And that way people will have a place to go to find barbers and things like that.
Okay, but who said that wouldn't work?
It was a couple of people. And where,
Well, I wasn't one of them people because that sounds like a common sense idea to me.
well, here's where it broke down. Because having a website, as you know, having a website is not free. So,
No,
and people don't value what they don't pay for. So I was saying that for the first year, it would be like, I'm just making up a number, okay? But for the first year, $50, and it's on there for the whole year. Now, $50 for a year is less than what, $5 a month. It's
Yeah,
less than $5 a month.
yeah, because
You go
60 is 12 times 5 is 60. So yeah, you're right. It's less than yeah.
so you show me where you can spend less than $5 a month on marketing anywhere.
Heck, people won't even subscribe to our channels, and it's literally free. Literally
Right.
free.
So my thought process was
That's
the
a
fifty
good thought
dollars
though.
or
'Cause
even $25. I mean, it's about being able to cover the cost of the website for the person who's taking the time to build your ad piece, putting it on their personal website, and we can have this all over the place. But then it's like, okay, people don't want to pay for it because they're like, well, you have to have your audience first, and I'm like,
but
that's
how can you get
fair.
an audience?
I mean, that's fair, right? It's fair that someone like myself doesn't have a large audience, but if that momentum grows, regardless of my audience, the idea and the process grows. And now you'll end up with people who have larger audiences, and maybe that'll help you. But the people who have larger audiences, when's the last time they came to you and said, I want to help market you for a low price? Like everybody want to
I
wait for the popular person, and the popular person ain't checking for you.
that's sure not. And you better get in where you fit in because $50, I mean, heck, that's a paycheck. That's a $5 here, $2 there. Boom, bam, I got 50.
And then the other version I was thinking about, well, maybe I'll just do it. I'll just do it for free. But no, I just
What
won't do
you
it
do?
then. Because everybody wants everybody else to do things as a labor of love or something like that. But I'm like, wait a
And
minute,
they want to get paid.
you in
Like
business
you
to get
want to
paid.
get paid. Yeah, you want to get paid. You're not going to work for free. You go to work, you expect a paycheck.
And if just one person comes to you because they saw it on my site or they saw it on Tracy's site, that was
Course,
worth
I
your
had to
whole
get my
year's.
website first because websites are expensive. But
But get what I'm saying though? Like that $50, you just need maybe one person of the entire year to see it go to you. You just made your $50 back. But you so worried about losing $50 for the year.
you can't
And
even
it's
buy
just
a
like,
radio ad for $50. You can't even buy on. You can maybe buy a Facebook ad, maybe, but you have to have so many impressions. You're gonna end up spending about 300-400. That
yeah,
ain't
so
not.
that was disheartening for me. Um, but maybe I just have to talk to a few more people. But that was disheartening because it's like, and it's disheartening because it builds on you. These things build on you. So remember, I was like, hey, can $5 a month? Can you dedicate $5 a month? That lets me help people pay for their groceries. That helps me help people pay for their gas. That helps me, right? There were a couple people. Some of y'all were helping me. It was the same 5 or 6 people. Let's just be real. That were helping me. That means the rest was coming out of my pocket. Well, I can't afford to do all that long term and do the website and do that stuff. So then I had to stop those things. So that was disheartening. And then I tried to move that into what was it, Patreon? So that didn't work so hot, but that was my fault because I don't record. And
Yeah, I was
then,
gonna say you recorded. Well, you're doing much better.
thank you, because I was
You're
doing that
making our
once every
brother
90
proud.
days. Huh?
I think you're making our brother proud.
Yes, yeah. He still would tell me I could do better, and he'd be right. Um, but all right, hey, good night, Miss Tracy. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I look forward to the black male voter discussion. So that's going to be cool. I wouldn't be surprised if just drop a name, Mondale might show up because that's his project. Um,
I didn't invite Mondale though. I did not
oh,
because
okay.
see, I got the free StreamYard. I can only hold so many people. See, because I ain't got money to pay for StreamYard like that. So I was like,
Well, I feel you. I looked at the price on StreamYard and I was like, nah.
I did not make that
I can put that
invitation. I
somewhere else.
probably should have. I probably should have. And I may still have time, but then I have to be alternating. I'm like, well, you come on and then jump back and forth, back and forth. I don't want to do that.
Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you, Tracy, for hanging out with me. And I hope everybody have a good one. And that's the end of this one.
Remember, subscribe to this